What's up, people? Today we're going to be learning about external Actionscript files, and these will be used so that you can port certain code from one project to another real easily. Also, it's used to reduce code and reduce redundancy, which is pretty good. So let's get started. I already have a drawing.fla. It's blank basically, except with two layers, one called AS3 and one with just a layer. And I want you to save it into a folder, just a random folder. Just save as. Mine's already in a Flash folder with all my other projects. And then what you want to do is you want to go to New and Actionscript 3.0 class. Now this is only for Adobe Flash CS5, I believe. Everyone else has an Actionscript file, which you can use as well. The only difference is this automatically generates code, where this does not. So, yeah, I can call it an ellipse, because I'll just show you later why it's called that. And it'll create this. I don't believe the normal one does it. It just creates a blank file, but just create this. So like pause and create it if you don't have CS5. And what this does, package, is it's kind of blank right now. You could add like a file structure to it, like try/dot gi or something like that. And if it's blank, it means that this Actionscript 3 file, if you're looking for it, it will be in the same exact place as the FLA you're working with. Otherwise, you want a file structure to tell where it is. And we're going to call this ellipse.as. It has to have the same name as your public class. And the class is just a kind of basic blueprint to an object, which I'll explain later. And we want this class to extend or to inherit all the properties of a movie clip. And it should automatically generate some code here about importing a Flash movie clip. Now, what is this public function ellipse? Why does it have the same exact name as the class? Well, I'm sure if you've ever created anything, like any object in Flash already, so we'll call it free, I guess. And we'll say movie clip equals new movie clip. So when the new is it called a constructor? When this is called, it's actually a function, and this function is defined by this public function, and it has to have the same exact name. So that's what it is. It's a special function called a constructor, and we can, just like in a normal function, have parameters. And so we're going to have a width, the number data type, height, number data type, and a color with a number data type. Now I'm actually not sure if you can do this in normal functions, but you could assign default values. So if you call it and the current, and you don't like input w equals 40, like if you don't say, for example, 40 and some color, then normally it would crash because you need to have those exact arguments for the parameters. But if you have defaults, you don't need those arguments because it'll just default to whatever the equals is. We're going to make this 6699cc because that's like my favorite color. So delete that, and we'll use the graphics object. Again, fill, color, and then we'll draw the actual ellipse. It has to have the x and y coordinates, the width, the height, and that's it. And then we have to end it as well. And that's our cool class. Now let's go back into our drawing. We need to now create an object, an ellipse basically. And since that has the same width and height, it's actually a circle. But anyways, we'll call it pickles as usual, not perkles. Actually, perkles sounds pretty cool. Perkles, and it's an ellipse. Now this is default package because once Flash CS5 installs Flash onto your hard drive, it'll put in my documents a Flash folder, and that's where I store everything. It might not display this, but just type it anyways. If you put it in another file, new ellipse. And since it has the default values, we don't need anything in the parameters. And you'd think this would run. It creates an object, it draws it, but it doesn't. Why? Well, there's an actual list going on behind the scenes of the root class, the stage basically, and we have to add this to that list by calling the add child and saying perkles. So this will add this object that's already drawn to the stage, and it does. Pretty cool. Now it's kind of boring, so we're going to get a function called drawing. It's going to take a mouse event. See, this is where you could be pretty creative. It's going to take a mouse event. We're going to name it, I don't know, drawing. We'll have a void argument, and then add event listener to the stage. Mouse event dot. Usually it should mouse underscore down. Actually, mouse underscore move. And drawing. Perkles dot x equals mouse x, and perkles dot y equals mouse y. And you've just created a basic paint program. A basic paint program. 1 second. Event.move. That's odd. 1 sec. It's actually because you have to add stage, which is kind of odd because you don't have to add stage here. But anyways, you've now created a basic paint program. Wait 1 sec. I'm gonna do a cursive like hi. And there's a little period. Hi. So yeah, that's it for now. Now we'll see you guys next tutorial.